Time for an update on what the Albanese Labor government and its Climate and Energy Minister Chris Bowen are doing to our energy grid. Remember, energy is the lifeblood of everything that's made us prosperous and comfortable. Whether it's schools, hospitals, farms, homes, cities, towns, factories, offices, sport, jobs, health, universities or entertainment. Everything about our enviable civilisation and our nation comes back to energy. And Australia's great economic advantage of the past century or so has been cheap and reliable electricity. That is no longer the case. Our governments have prioritised reducing emissions over providing affordable and reliable power. And they've done so because they like to pretend that they're saving the planet from a climate catastrophe. So how is Chris Bowen going against his own promises and grand pronouncements? First, let's get cost out of the way.
Energy bills, which will be $275 for the average house, lower in 2025 than today. Reducing power prices by $275.
Yeah, as we know, he could not have gotten this promise any more wrong. He couldn't have broken it any more badly. Not only have power prices failed to be cut by $275 a year, they went up $275 a year. And then they went up another $275 a year, and they've gone up yet further $275 on top of that, putting Bowen and Labor about $1,000 a year in arrears of their electricity price promise. OK, let's look at more of Bowen's plan.
Australia can lead the world in offshore wind. Victoria can lead Australia in offshore wind. And Gippsland can lead Victoria in offshore wind.
Yeah, Bowen has announced offshore wind projects in Victoria, South Australia and New South Wales. But now, after more than 4 years in office, Labor has not seen a single offshore wind project built in any of his 6 declared areas, despite Labor's plans often riding roughshod over local objections. So it's been good news in the end for those local communities. But all the fuss has been over nothing because these projects just don't stack up. Who would have guessed, hey? As most of us said all along, this stuff just not add up. They throw our money at it, but it still doesn't work. So, how about green hydrogen?
We'll be leading the global green hydrogen revolution. Only Labor has the plan to ensure that Australia is part of and is leading that hydrogen revolution.
The revolution. Labor, federally and in state governments, has promised billions of dollars of taxpayers' money in grants and subsidies to kick off so-called green hydrogen projects. And one by one, they've fallen over. In Queensland, at Gladstone, in the Hunter Valley in New South Wales, in the West and near Whyalla in South Australia, project after project, billions after billions, all going up like a hydrogen airship. And as if all of this isn't wild enough, how about the idea of exporting solar power to Southeast Asia? The Suncable project was going to roll out vast areas of solar panels in the Northern Territory and feed it to Singapore via undersea cables.
Suncable has enormous potential for Australia as a renewable energy export powerhouse.
But surprise, surprise, this bizarre plan also fell over. It was backed by billionaires Twiggy Forrest and Mike Cannon-Brookes, but it went into administration a couple of years ago and it's now being floated again by Cannon-Brookes. Let's hope not a single dollar of taxpayers' money is ever involved. So there it is. Not a great record, is it? Especially if you add in Snowy Hydro 2.0, a project started under Malcolm Turnbull but embraced by Labor, currently running about 8 years overdue and $20 billion over budget. And Chris Bowen, the minister who backs all these grand schemes, all these pathetic white elephants, he is the same minister who says the tried and tested technology of nuclear power is too hard and too expensive for Australia. So about 30 other developed economies around the world have got that one wrong, apparently. And instead, Australia will lead the way with imaginary offshore wind, imaginary green hydrogen and imaginary Snowy 2.0 schemes, as well as an imaginary solar electricity cable to Singapore, as if we don't need more electricity right here in Australia. This is ongoing national energy self-harm. And the vandals in chief are Anthony Albanese and Chris Bowen.
See this. You promised a $275 discount on your power bill. Instead, you get slugged with bill hikes so steep you'd think your electricity meter was training for a marathon. Welcome to Labor's energy transition, where the only thing transitioning smoothly is your bank balance straight out of your wallet. Quick favour before we continue: if you're enjoying straight-talking breakdowns like this one, smash that subscribe button and tap the notification bell. Over 90% of you watching haven't yet, and it costs nothing but a second of your time. Cheers if you did. Now let us continue. Back in 2021, Anthony Albanese stood in front of cameras and said he did not just think power bills would fall by $275, he knew it. Chris Bowen backed him up with modelling and confidence to match. Fast forward to today, and households have paid tens of billions of dollars more than expected, with some regions falling over $1,000 short of that promised saving. That is not a rounding error, that is a policy running face first into reality, repeatedly, like a cartoon character who never learns. But hang on, because bills are only chapter 1 of this saga. Let us talk about the big flagship renewable projects that were meant to power the nation into a shiny green future. Offshore wind was declared across 6 zones, from Gippsland to the Illawarra, with local communities pushed to accept turbines on their horizon for the greater good. Years later, not a single offshore wind project is actually spinning. Victoria's first offshore wind auction is only just kicking off in the back half of this year, which tells you everything about the gap between announcement and actual construction. Then there's green hydrogen, once spruiked as Australia's next export boom, with billions in grants promised across multiple states. Several of the marquee projects have been scaled back, shelved or quietly parked while everyone pretends nothing happened, a bit like leaving a party through the back door so nobody notices you are gone. And then there's Suncable, the ambitious plan to beam solar power from the Northern Territory all the way to Singapore through an undersea cable. Backed by big money and bigger ambition, the project went through financial trouble before being revived, and its final investment decision is not even expected until 2027, with power not flowing until the next decade at the earliest. Ambitious, certainly. Delivered, not even close. Now for the crown jewel of cost blowouts, Snowy 2.0. Originally sold to the public as a $2 billion project by the Turnbull government and inherited enthusiastically by Labor, it has since ballooned to more than $20 billion, with some independent analysts suggesting the true all-in cost, including transmission and financing, could climb dramatically higher. The project remains years behind its original completion target, plagued by tunnel boring machines getting stuck in rock, sinkholes, contractor collapses and management shake-ups. Picture ordering a modest renovation and ending up with a mortgage-sized bill and a house that still isn't finished. That's Snowy 2.0 in a nutshell. So here's the through line connecting all of this. A broken bill promise, renewable flagship projects stuck in limbo, and a hydro project that has become a byword for cost blowouts. These are not isolated hiccups, they are symptoms of a pattern where ambition consistently outran engineering reality, fiscal discipline and proper oversight. Energy Minister Chris Bowen and Prime Minister Anthony Albanese have staked their reputations on this transition, and the gap between the rhetoric and the results keeps widening. None of this means the transition to cleaner energy is a bad idea in principle, but good intentions don't keep the lights affordable. Execution does. Australians deserve a government that under-promises and over-delivers, not the other way round. Thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one, and please drop your thoughts in the comments below.